Absolutely.
And we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience and sorry for the late start this afternoon. The people's business sometimes takes time. With that, we will get our meeting underway. I'd like to first recognize this meeting is taking place on the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, and I know we're also grateful to be here. With that, we'll get the meeting underway. I'd also like to remark that some of us, I might not show up on video, but I am wearing a light pink shirt. Today is Pink Shirt Day, and we do all stand together against bullying in all its forms, especially with our children, but also with our adults. So check yourself online, folks. With that, we will get underway. First item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda this afternoon? Mr. Robbins.
No changes. A motion to approve as circulated.
Moved by Director Nicholson, seconded by Director Morrison. All those in favor? Any opposed? Nobody opposed? Motion carries. I think it's gone. No? The echo.
Please check your devices, make sure that you are muted.
I should probably check mine. All right, we will continue. Next item, Mr. Robbins.
Recommendation that the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 8th, 2023 be adopted.
No errors or omissions. A motion to adopt those minutes. It was moved by Director McGonigal. It was so slick that I didn't even notice. Seconded by Director Segal. All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
We're not aware of any business arising from those minutes, but look around the table. We move to agenda item number 4, public input period.
So I welcome folks to step up for public input. Generally, it is on items onto the agenda, but I'm going to ask the board for a little latitude for our public input period today, but I will stick to the 3-minute time limit. Make sure the microphone's on, please. Just hit the blue button on the base there. And please go ahead. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. So getting back to the affordable or attainable housing crisis, I want to talk about issues related to small, self-contained, movable dwellings, such as RVs and tiny homes in the CVRD. First, as a rural landowner, I want to attest to the tremendous growth in this sector. In my observation, it has doubled, if not tripled, in the past few years, driven by the pandemic and sharp increases in the cost of living. For better or worse, it has become a significant, if unacknowledged, housing stock in the Cowichan. For better, it is generally much more affordable than the alternatives and can provide a kind of simplicity of living and light footprint that many people are seeking. The worst aspects of tiny home life largely arise from its existence outside the regulatory framework. While this presents a challenge to CVRD planning and enforcement, I know, from the tiny home dwellers' perspective, there are also some serious challenges I wanted to highlight. The main pitfall, how precarious a life it is. Enforcement is complaint-driven and anonymous, and while a tiny home dweller may live for years tucked away in a back acreage or in the woods, enforcement officers can show up at any time and turn the life of someone upside down. I know of several tiny home dwellers who are single mothers, and you can imagine the stress and hardship of their being uprooted from their home and their community as well. The fact that these tiny homes are necessarily covert also makes the people in these situations highly vulnerable to forms of exploitation, both financial and otherwise, and effectively excludes those people from this important policy discussion. Most of the people living in tiny homes simply cannot find or cannot afford to rent a suite in Duncan. They have already sunk all of their resources into a modest home, but it's a home nonetheless. Their best option, if enforcement leads to eviction, is to find another pad deeper in the woods, making them even more prone to isolation and exploitation, and engaging the CVRD in a costly and disruptive form of whack-a-mole. Many of these residents and most of the landowners who are hosting them, as I understand, would be much happier to bring this housing stock into the regulated market, to pay permit fees, to follow sensible rules, and to be mindful of regional development goals. Unfortunately, the rules and regulations as they currently exist make this either impossible or prohibitively expensive. I don't have simple solutions to this, but I do want to note that jurisdictions all over BC are struggling with it and are coming up with creative solutions. My question in closing is whether the CVRD will consider and acknowledge the depth of the issues around tiny homes in the region, and whether you might direct staff to allocate resources towards developing recommendations to update the policy framework. And finally, just one more word. While enforcement staff clearly have their own statutory responsibilities, the price for individuals and families who are being marginalized and displaced as we speak is very high indeed. A pause in evictions while policies are reviewed would be a compassionate response to the current affordable housing crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your input. This is public input, so I'm not going to respond at this time, but we're gonna hear you, and we'll take the opportunity to see what we can do moving forward. So I want to thank you very much for your input and your impeccable
Chair,
time.
I didn't get the name of the person and where they're
Sorry,
from.
name and where you're from?
Zane Parker, I'm from Area B,
Okay, thank you.
near the trestle. I would just note that I also there's a 3-page or so policy kind of paper that I put out.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Public input, any more input today on the agenda? I know that I've given some latitude, but please don't abuse it.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, I would like to speak to agenda item CR1. Point 2, that the staff be directed to prepare a report on continuing to work with local reuse organization, I think that's plural, in all 3 recycling facilities with appropriate resources required. And as a member of the public, my name's Kim Bernard from Area B, Shawnigan Lake. I stand in total jealousy of Ladysmith because they have a bulky item pickup days allocated for this spring, and I'm wondering if other groups can collaborate on this type of thing so that we can have that less waste and more reuse, and of course, respect our marginalized population that can't afford brand new things. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Again, we don't respond to questions here, but we'll take that under advisement. We also piloted during COVID yard waste pickup, and now we do that twice a year as well as the bulky item. Put it out on your doors, your streetscape, and people will pick it up. Thank you for that. Anyone else for public input? Seeing none, Mr. Robbins, we'll move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have no delegations. I don't believe there's any report from you, Mr. Chair.
There may be. Director Nicholson, did you want to steal a bit of report of the chairperson time just to make a referral?
Yeah, I'd like to refer a discussion about tiny homes to Electoral Area Services Committee.
So do I have a seconder for that? I'll take an electoral area director's second. Director Segal, any further discussion? Seeing, Director McGonigal. I opened the door and he stepped right through.
Thank you very much, sir. This is a topic not only for electoral areas, but all communities. In zoning currently, you are allowed ancillary buildings in most of our zones within the town of Lake Cowichan. But unfortunately, because of the BC Building Code not identifying tiny homes as residable residences, they are not included in this as an affordable option. Now, the intent is to perhaps reach out to the province to amend the building code to allow tiny homes as ancillary buildings as long as they are connected to utilities within the municipality. And I'm hoping that my fellow municipal mayors, I've had initial discussions, can come with me and approach the new housing minister on that option about amending the building code to allow tiny homes as ancillary buildings.
Thank you, and I will note last night Ladysmith passed a bylaw reducing the minimum square footage to just under 200 square feet for a dwelling to help support that as a secondary housing option, but we are still requiring foundation and full building code compliance, but we have taken as many steps as we can within our zoning bylaw to achieve more creative housing solutions.
And just a follow-up comment, I didn't mean to piggyback on the EAs, but this has given me an opportunity outside of the public input to have some input of my own.
Okay, I've given too much latitude. We're getting off the rails. This is a motion to refer to the referral director acted. Go ahead, I'm just kidding, but I'm not.
I'm referring something?
It's a referral motion.
There's a referral motion?
To refer the discussion on tiny homes to electoral area services.
Oh, great. Could we also ask for an update from staff. We had also, did we already talk about this?
No, we haven't. Go ahead. I'll let you
Stepped
finish.
out of the room for 2
Point
minutes.
of order, it's a referral motion.
I know.
But
I'm given
wondering where
latitude. The
update-
latitude ends after this item.
I'm wondering if perhaps our CEO could ask then the staff to bring back an update on, we had referred to staff, asking them for some quick wins that we could apply towards affordable housing, and we haven't seen that come back yet. And I feel like it's about 6 months. So I'm also asking if we, at the same time, we could have an update on that work at Electoral Area Services. Motion to refer. Thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins, please put us on the narrow track forward.
Agenda Section 7, correspondence. Piece of correspondence from the Cowichan Lake and River Stewardship Society with regards to a letter of support. This is for your direction.
Director Morrison.
Move that a letter of support be written and signed by the chair.
Seconded by Director Nicholson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
There are no information items under 8. Moving to Section 9, Committee Commission reports. Excuse me. CR1 report and recommendations of the Committee of the Whole meeting of February 8th, 2023. There are 2 recommendations.
You see the recommendations before you,
Move
Director
the
Morrison.
items.
Thank you. Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director Wilson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
CR2 is the report and recommendations of the Cowichan Lake Recreation Commission meeting held January 26, 2023. There is a recommendation from that commission.
Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director McGonigal. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
There is nothing has been submitted under Section 10, Director Reports. That moves you to staff reports. SR1, report from information, report from the Community Planning Division with regards to bylaws 4472, 4473. It's for your information.
Thank you. As our practice, I believe those bylaws are further down the agenda, but if there are any questions for staff now, this is your opportunity. Okay, seeing none, we'll move, Director Nicholson.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm confused, but this is I was curious about the Kaikus Fire Hall and why Mosaic didn't want it to be rezoned. Was that correct? Is
Okay.
that part of this report? I can't remember if this.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So question through to staff. I know Director Morrison was waving his hand. He probably has an answer too, but Ms. Charolf.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Director Nicholson. The owner is Mosaic, so the fire hall operates out of Mosaic's building. They've elected to take the position that they don't want to see that building rezoned at this time, as they would prefer to see a long-range planning process for Kaikus occur prior to consideration of zoning. So the bylaws will be limited to the Missachi Fire Hall only.
I see a metropolis of Kaikus on the horizon. I shouldn't say that because now alarm bells are going off all through the valley. Any discussion further on that information item? Thanks, Ms. Charolf, and thank you. We'll move on. Mr. Robbins.
Agenda number 12, public hearings. Recommendation that the public hearing minutes with regards to CVRD bylaw number 4349, cannabis uses 2021 be received.
Moved by Director Segal, seconded by Director Morrison. I don't want everybody jump at once. Any discussion? It's just minutes for receipt. All those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries.
Agenda item 13, B1, that CVRD bylaw number 4476, Wilmont Road Drainage Service Amendment, Boundary Extension, PID 005490383, bylaw 2023, be granted first, second, and third readings.
Moved by Director Abbott, seconded by Director Staples. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor and opposed? None opposed, motion carries.
Bylaws, Section 14, these are for electoral area directors only. BEA1, that's CVRD Bylaw 4447 South Couch and Zoning Amendment Bylaw 2734 Berry Road 2022 be adopted.
Moved by Director Segal, seconded by Director McClinton. Any discussion? Seeing, Ms. Segal. Sorry, Director Segal.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say a few words that I've given this application a lot of thought. I've heard the concerns of some of our community members. Being that we have a policy that states cannabis retail stores should be at least 300 meters from schools, parks, playgrounds, areas where youth frequent. And that's in kind of conflict with the unique geography of Mill Bay, which has a private school that owns property surrounding the whole retail area. So there actually is no location that would meet the specifications of this policy. However, other controlled substances are already being sold from multiple locations within Mill Bay that are within the 300 meters. I think that responsible members of this community that are of legal age, making fully informed purchases, deserve a location that serves a safe supply of cannabis products in Mill Bay. So I support this motion. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for electoral area directors only, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
BEA2, that's CVRD Bylaw 4472 Electoral Areas Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 2023 be granted first and second readings.
Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director McClinton. Any discussion? For electoral area directors only, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Robbins.
And BEA3, that's CVRD Bylaw number 4473 Electoral Area F Couch and Lake South Scotts Falls Zoning Amendment Bylaw Massachi Fire Hall 2023 be granted first and second readings.
Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director Deck. Any discussion? For EA directors only, all those in favor? Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, there's no further resolutions under 15, no unfinished business under item 16. We're not aware of any notices of motion. 17, nothing under new business, which moves you to question period.
Question period. No? Oh, you're waving me off. I was like, hi, Mr. Evans. Seeing none, we'll ask for a motion to go into closed session under sections. We're going to do closed board. No, we'll finish this board session, and then we'll go back to the the CAL, yes. So we'll need to go into closed, then adjourn, closed board, go back to closed CAL.
You've recessed the committee of the whole, so you can continue on with this,
But we
finish
need
off the
the-
board, and then go back into committee.
We need the closed committee of the whole to come to closed board. Right? So we're
Those are
gonna,
the
we know what we're doing, don't worry.
recommendations. Yes.
I got
Thank
you,
you.
man. The
Under-
things in our agenda thingy that tell us
With
why we're
one
going
addition
into closed.
under C.
91C.
With one
Employee
more
relations.
item under employee relations, section 91C.
Thank
So
you.
there's two items to be discussed. in
Thank you.
closed.
Moved by Director Morrison, seconded by Director McGonigal. All those in favor? Any opposed? Someone move